Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Ice Talks, where we implement change every day. Harold Reed here, your host, as always, because who else is going to do it? Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy right now, and I feel really good because I know a couple of episodes in the past, I was in some dark places, but I do this to bring light to what's going on in my life and perhaps even in yours. So today, oh my God, I'm so proud of my youngest son, Justin. He did something today that is totally mind-blowing to me. Not in the sense that I didn't think he'd be capable of doing what I'm going to share with you that he did. You know what? How about I just jump into it? There is scripture that tells us, and I believe it is found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. And before I say this verse, let me say that I am by no means a Bible scholar. I am nobody's holy rolling Bible thumper, okay? But I'm not a total heathen either. So this particular line of scripture teaches us to train a child in the way he should go. And then it further tells us when he gets old, he will not stray from it. So today, I took Justin to karate class, and it just so happened, and now let me say this, being an instructor myself, when I take him to school, when I take him to karate, unless the master instructor asks me to come onto the mat and assist with the class, I leave Justin alone. I'll sit in my car, or I will sit in the lounge outside the training room with the parents, and I'll talk to the parents and whatnot. And because I want Justin to have his own identity. I don't always want to be over him in him doing the things he's doing. Because I want him, like I said, I want him to have his own identity. So today, this particular day, Monday, I dropped him off and I stayed in my car. I had some phone calls to make. I had some things I had to look up online or whatever for my work. And it was just another day. And then right around the time the class was supposed to end, like maybe 5-10 minutes before the end of the what was supposed to be the end of the class, car pulls up alongside of me and his instructor gets out the car. 5-10 minutes before class is over. Now, I didn't panic because just like he has me help out, he has other martial artists that are friends of his who are instructors who are qualified to teach. So I figured, okay, he must have got held up at work. He got another one of his boys up there, and it's all good. No big deal. I was like, yo, when you get up there, tell Justin it's time to go. He got to come down. Because sometimes they catch a fever up in there, and they'll be up in there training forever. Right? So Justin comes back downstairs, and the instructor comes back downstairs, and he says, make sure you put that on your uniform. I'm like, put the what? What? If anybody remembers that movie Shotters with Bob Marley's son, when my man says, take the what and left the what? That's how I felt. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Justin told him that he did good in school and he's giving him like a star or something, because some karate schools give their students stars to sew onto their uniforms to show that they're doing well in school. So my son reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a patch, but this ain't no star. This patch says assistant instructor. Assistant instructor. Because my son, well, first of all, let me say this before I get into full dad brag mode. Justin is a junior black belt. He is one of the eldest students in his class. And the boy has a natural talent. Even when we were at our first martial arts school, before he got his junior black belt, you could always count on him to help with little kids. For some reason, he could get down with little kids, and especially even the little kids that I don't want. Just come on and play with me. Just come on, and he'll bring them onto the mat. Next thing you know, so he has a great way with kids. And it just so happens that there are a lot of younger students in his weekday class. So to bring this particular story to a close, I spoke with his instructor about an hour or so later, and he was telling me how he got held up at work, yes. And when he actually was going to call his wife, he actually called his wife to tell his wife to cancel the class because he couldn't make it. And his wife told him that Justin, my son, my little goofy 13-year-old, had taken charge of the class and was running the class with no problems. He ran the whole class from beginning to end. Now, Justin is always willing to help, doesn't necessarily have to be asked. And listen, he saw a problem, he solved the problem. Now, I'm overjoyed. I took the boy to his favorite restaurant for dinner, let him have his Red Robin, and I told him he could stay up a half hour extra after bedtime. He could stay up a half hour past his bedtime, because I believe that when you work hard, you should be rewarded. And apparently his instructor believes the same, for which I'm glad. Because his instructor came in, and his instructor was so amazed that Justin had the class eating out the palm of his hand pretty much, that he awarded him the title of assistant instructor. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to sew this damn patch on his uniform. But that's okay. That's what I call a champagne problem. That's not a problem I mind having. And so I think about a mentoring program I just started in my hometown. And these young men, some of them a little younger than my son, some of them a year or two older than my son, none of them as well behaved as my son. Hence the need for a mentoring program. And I keep reflecting back on that Bible verse. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not part from it. So, I mean, I've known of that verse since before I had kids, but it became most relevant, obviously, when I had my kids. And I'm hard. I ain't gonna lie. I'm hard on my boys. I'm hard on them. I'm hard on them because there's a hard world out there waiting for them. And if they're not prepared to face that hard world, then that's a failure on my part. And it saddens me to say that a lot of the young men that I work with, something is failing in their lives. Someone is failing in their lives. I'm not their daddy. I even told one of the kids, listen, I'm not your daddy. I don't want to ask you about your daddy. If your dad's around, God bless him. You have an uncle. If your father's not around, then give me a chance. I'll be your father figure. And I got to tell you, man, some of these boys that I deal with in my mentoring program, they're a little rowdy. But I got to remember, but I got to constantly tell myself, these are kids. These are kids, and they're lacking. Something is lacking. Well, definitely discipline is lacking, because these little boys talk like they grown. And I have to, definitely don't believe I'm going to capitulate to their immaturity. But at the same time, these are children. I can't approach them as I would college students who are going through the orientation process of entering my fellowship, my fraternal organization. I can't talk to them the same way I would talk to those young men, those college age young men. I can't talk to these young men the way I would address an unruly citizen on the street when I was a cop. I have to find these children where they are. And I have to, and with some of them I could tell I may have to go to a very dark place. But I'm going to find those children where they are, and I'm going to find a way, no pun intended, to lift their spirits and get them to understand that they can either be a victim of society or they can be a victor in society. That's my mission. But what does all of this have to do to you? What does all of this have to do with you? How are any of you going to benefit from my kid getting a nice little promotion at the karate school? How are any of you going to benefit from me talking about me dealing with somebody else's badass kids? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because chances are you might have some badass kids in your life too. And it'll get frustrating as all hell in terms of how to deal with these kids, because in some states you can't put your hands on them, and then there's some people who just don't believe in putting their hands on the kids or what have you. And I'm not here to tell you how to parent. I am here to tell you, train a kid up in the way he should go, and when he gets old, you will not stray from it. Our children are mirrors of ourselves. Their actions are mirrors of ourselves. What we teach our children and how we teach them to conduct themselves is one thing. Because I would hope every parent would teach their children how to conduct themselves with dignity, courtesy, and respect for others. I can tell you right now that ain't the case, especially where I got to do what I got to do. If that's my job to teach these young men how to deal with people with courtesy and respect and treat themselves and one another with dignity, I'll take that on. But guess what? You got to take that on too. Whether it's your kids, your nieces and nephews, your neighbors' kids, we have to go back to that village mentality. The African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, especially in my younger years in the 70s, if you mess up on the corner, first of all, what your ass doing on the corner, right? So if you just mess up on your way home, don't let any of the elders sitting on their porch catch you acting the fool. Because first thing they're going to do, this was back in the 70s, Miss Betty going to snatch you up, shake you up a little bit, tell you ain't supposed to be doing what you out there doing, and she going to tell your mama, and she swat you behind and say, you better get your butt on home. Then Miss Anita, she going to see you, and she going to say, she going to snatch you up, give you a pat on the bottom. I'm going to tell your mother and get your butt on home. And it's about maybe 2 or 3 more elders, depending on where you live on that block, waiting for you. And then by the time you get home, mom and dad is waiting for you. Oh, you ain't want to mess up on my block in my youth. See, we need to go back to caring for our children. See, if you're in our neighborhood, we live in our community. These are our children. And we have to take the time. You see, my kids are going to be fine. My boys are going to be fine. A 13-year-old assistant instructor. Now, no, it's not a job. It's a little title. So it shows the other students, hey, look, you can do this too. He's a kid just like you, right? But what about the kids who don't have a me in their life or a you in their life? Mentoring is very, very, very important. It is very vital. And I swear on my life, I don't want to make anyone feel alienated in what I'm about to say, but it is what it is. Black boys need black men in their lives to teach them how to navigate and survive this world we are living in today. Full stop. Black men are needed. Are we respected? Mostly not. Are we appreciated? Mostly not. But our children need us. Our black boys need us. Our black boys need black men to teach them how to love, respect, and protect the black woman. Our black girls need black fathers in their lives to teach them how they should expect to be treated by a man. A young man coming into a young woman's life had better have his act together. If he and or she are, no, if he and she are quality people, they're going to have their act together. See? We need to teach our children. There's a phrase, OQP, only quality people. It doesn't say only quality adults. It doesn't say only quality kids. But if you raise your kid in the way he or she should go, you will create a quality person. And then you teach them only deal with quality people. OQP, only quality people. But you have to be a quality person yourself. We have to also reflect that we have to smell our own stuff. We have to call ourselves on our own crap. We have to own up to that. It's very important that we hold ourselves accountable, because a kid will call you on your stuff real quick. There used to be a commercial in the 80s where a parent, some of you guys might even remember this commercial. Parent barges into the kid's room, got a little cigar box full of weed, marijuana, papers, and grinders, and the flour and the stuff itself. And the dude starts yelling at the kid, "You know what this will do to you? This is no good for you. How could you do this? Where did you learn how to do this?" And you know what the kid said? "I learned it from watching you." There's another poem out there, and I task you with the homework assignment of finding it and reading it. And the poem is entitled, wait a minute, let me get this right. When You Weren't Looking. I believe that's the title, When You Weren't Looking. Google When You Weren't Looking and see if that comes up. You know what? I'm recording right now, and I'm going to do that for you. When You Weren't Looking. Poem. Yes, When You Weren't Looking. You know what? Because I love you and I'm in such a good mood, forget the homework assignment. I'll read it to you. While you weren't looking, I was. I was looking at you. I was smiling at your smile. I was laughing at your laugh. I was falling in love with you. While you weren't looking, I wanted you to. I wanted you to look at me. I wanted you to smile at me. I wanted you to laugh with me. I wanted you to love me too. While you weren't looking, you became my everything. This is what's in a child's heart. And this poem, being in a child's heart, coming from a child's heart, this is what every child wants. Now, unfortunately, there are children out there whose parents don't know or don't care to find that essence within their own children. And this brings about children who, when they get the puberty going and they're getting into their own sense of self, into their teenage years, 13, 14, 15, can't tell them nothing. Can't tell them nothing. Because they think they know everything. But I'll tell you what works for me. I'll share with you what works for me. I have been teaching my children since they could understand and respond. Well, what have you been teaching them? I'm glad you asked. Anything and everything I can. Anything and everything I can. Because school is going to teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic. I got to teach them survival. I got to teach them how not to just survive, but to thrive. How to negotiate the landmines that exist in interpersonal relationships, how they should go about maintaining and living and carrying themselves with a sense of integrity, honor, and dignity. They make mistakes. We talk about the mistakes. In some cases, they're punished for their mistakes. But there's always a lesson in every mistake. There's always love in every lesson. Listen, I'm not telling you to jump out the window, go to the Boys and Girls Club and ask, where do I sign up? But be that parent that takes your kid and his friends or her friends to the mall. Be that parent that takes a group of kids to the movies. Be that parent. To your kids, you're just mom and dad. But to those kids you're helping, who don't have what you're giving them regularly for themselves, they don't have the mom and dad to take them to the movies. They don't have the mom and dad to make sure they get the hottest Xbox or PlayStation games that come out. They don't have that. But you could give them a piece of that. And that little piece of yourself that you give to them could be big enough to fill up their entire heart. Raise up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he shall not stray from it. That goes for girls too. I didn't write the Bible, that's just how it's written. Listen. I'm so happy. I love recording episodes like this. I had another episode already planned out, already mapped out. Everything you're getting right here, right now, nothing written, straight off the dome. I freestyled this episode. I freestyled it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, Harold S. Reed Jr. here again, and we're about to close out. I really hope you enjoyed that episode, and it would mean the world to me if any one of you listening to this anywhere in the country, hell, anywhere in the world, if you found the time within your life, if you found the energy within your spirit to help somebody else's child. It could be your niece, it could be your nephew, it could be the kid 2 houses down, it could be the kid 2 apartment floors up, 3 apartment floors down. There's a kid out there that needs some help. There's a kid out there that needs somebody to believe in him or her. There is a doctor out there, there is a lawyer out there, there is a singer out there, there is a dancer out there, there is a pro athlete out there, there is a scientist out there. They need us. There is greatness locked away in these kids and they don't even know it within themselves. Let's bring that greatness out. Let's make all kids magic. Oh, don't get it twisted. It's always going to be black girls magic, black boy magic for me. I'm not going to all lives matter my magic, but at the same time, all children are miracles. All children are blessings from God. Not near child on the face of this planet in the history of history was born with hate in his or her heart. These things are taught. And if we're not the ones as parents and elders doing the teaching, we leave our children to be subject to the teachings of the street, where they can get their master's degree at the penitentiary and their doctorate in the cemetery. That's not what I want for my kids. Damn sure not what I want for yours. Let's take the time and do what's right for all of these children in our communities. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon.